American Public Television presents the following program in high definition.
And I want to welcome you to my kitchen. Today I'm going to make my version of a spicy Cuban black bean soup. Then I'm going to follow that up with Moros y Cristianos, black beans with white rice. Then we're going to have Ropa Vieja, shredded beef with vegetables in a spicy tomato sauce.
Daisy Cooks is brought to you by
As Daisy says, eat great, feel great, look great. Marshall's, brand names for less.
Diageo. As Daisy says, eat great, feel great, look great. And if you drink, drink responsibly. Diageo, celebrating life every day responsibly.
All-Clad Metal Crafters. All-Clad is bonded construction. All-Clad is innovative design. All-Clad is professional equipment. All-Clad is a state of mind.
Brillo with Oxy Action. For tough messes, Oxy microbubbles lift and dissolve grease and grime. Brillo, cleaning solutions for your home for over 90 years.
Leave it to a colorful community like the Cubans to come up with a name like Ropa Vieja for a delicious classical Cuban dish. Ropa Vieja means old clothes. But this is delicious and it looks beautiful. When we finish with it, it's going to be amazing. It's going to become a favorite at your house. Ropa Vieja is classically made with flank steak, but I like to use chuck because with the chuck you have a shorter fiber. It's easier to shred. You don't sacrifice for tenderness or flavor. And I like it. I'm going to go ahead and pound the meat to break up the meat fibers a little bit. That was for the detention monitor in 8th grade. I have a little salt, or maybe you don't consider that a little salt. A little onion powder, not on pizza, it's okay on Ropa Vieja. And a little bit of pepper. I have a pan heating here. I'm going to use vegetable oil. Just going to coat the bottom of the pan, and let's let our chuck sing. Babaloo, right? I mean, this is going to be fabulous. We're not going to cook it a lot. What I'm going to do is I want to sear it. I want brown color on both sides because this is a dish that is going to end up cooking at gentle heat for about 2 hours. We really want to make the meat fork tender. Just shred it with your fork. It's going to be delicious. I'm turning over this gorgeous, gorgeous steak. And that's pretty much what I want. I want nice caramelization. Oh, and it smells. I could take a knife and fork to this just like this. And if you can see this, it's happening on the other side too. Gorgeous. That's as much color as I want. I'm going to move this here. I'm going to lower the heat. All this beautiful brown golden crust is going to be the base for my sauce. Okay, and I'm going to take a walk over to the refrigerator for my sofrito, which I keep in the freezer. No girl or boy should be without it. Sofrito is an aromatic puree of onions, garlic, tomatoes, sweet red bell peppers, green peppers, ajicitos dulces if you can find them, cilantro and culantro. Or if you can't find culantro, you could use more cilantro. This is a recipe that I like to play with. Just like there's a gazillion recipes for, say, pasta sauce, everyone has their own sofrito recipe. No shortage of sofrito in my freezer, honey. Because I didn't take it out beforehand, this is what you need to do. Just run it under a little hot water for a second to loosen your plastic bag from the sofrito. That's as much as you gotta do. Every time I pull one of these little baggies out of the freezer, I thank my mother. Mommy would make sofrito for the week and then freeze it like this. And because sofrito is the cornerstone of Latin American cooking, the uses are just so versatile. I'll tell you over and over again, this is really something that you are going to be so happy has been introduced to you. And it smells so pretty. Okay. This is alcaparrado, which is a salad of pitted olives and some capers, some sweet bell peppers, and I got a little bit of the brine in there, but you know what? My mom would always like pour an extra like teaspoon or so of alcaparrado because it just gives it a nice little tang, okay? And cumin, I'm gonna add about a teaspoon of ground cumin. Whew, amazing. And I have Creole style tomato sauce, which you can find in your ethnic aisle. If you can't find Creole sauce, add a little more sofrito and just use little generic cans of tomato sauce that you would find in your grocery aisle. Okay, just mix the whole thing together. And I'm gonna add just a little water. The meat is going to braise in this sauce, and I really want it to be nice and loose. A little salt, a little pepper. Okay, that's fine. What I'm going to do now is I'm putting the steak back in the sauce, along with any juices that might have collected. And now that it's at a nice bubble, I'm going to lower the heat, and I'm just gonna tuck in these 2 bay leaves. Love bay leaf. And I'm gonna set it on the back burner, and it's gonna be there for about 2 hours. I check it every 20 minutes, half an hour or so. Nothing says Cuba to me like black beans. I mean, they're absolutely beautiful. And, you know, I always peek through my black beans to make sure there isn't a little pebble or something like that. These happen to be immaculate. And, you know, when it comes to beans, I'm going to add some water. My mom and my grandma used to soak their beans from the night before. With my schedule, I don't have that luxury. And so what you want is enough water to cover the beans well. Look how beautiful they look now. I mean, if they were pretty before, they'd look like jewels. I get excited about things like this. You'll have to forgive me. I love what a bay leaf does. Hoja de laurel. How romantic is that? That just sounds so pretty. A couple of bay leaves. And then the other thing that I like, it's a smoked ham hock. It smells like bacon. And who doesn't love bacon? And then I just set the beans on the back burner at a medium-high heat. I want to get them to a nice rolling bubble, and I add water or broth every once in a while. You don't want your beans to dry out. Okay, beans away. Miami is one of my favorite cities in the whole world. And the first time that I went to Miami, I was about 12 years old. And what struck me most when we got there, aside from the sun and the smell of the salt in the air, was the color. The colors of the houses were guava and pineapple and lime and sky blue, and the fact that I smelled real food. I could go into any neighborhood and get alcapurrias or get a Cubano sandwich or smell real café con leche, black coffee. When I went to Miami, I was like, oh my God, this smells like home. This smells like Puerto Rico. I'm standing in front of this magnificent ceiba tree. The ceiba was sacred to the Taino Indians. The Tainos were a faction of Amerindians that traveled up through from the Venezuela region and populated all of the islands of the Caribbean. My grandmother was of Taino descent. I find myself very, very proud to be able to call that part of my heritage. That whole migration, I feel, is very much reflected in this community as the Cubans migrated up and populated Miami, and they've made it theirs. I'm standing in Los Vinareños, which is Peter Hernandez's store. The most beautiful produce. I want Peter to tell me a little bit about the store. How long have you been here, Peter?
We've been here 42 years. My parents came in '58 and bought it.
Now, speaking of your mom, I see her, she's in the back stirring a pot that smells really good. I hear that she makes asopao just on Fridays.
Just on Fridays. We have a daily menu, which is just one plate. Today it's our sopado maricada. Lobster, there's fish in there. There's also chicken and pork. It's like a paella without the mussels.
I can't wait to get back there. From what I understand, she makes this huge caldero of asopado, and in 45 minutes it's gone.
Less than an hour. Within 45 minutes
No
to 60
joke,
minutes.
I've been watching this. We came in and she lifted the top off the caldero and it was like huge, and I'm going, we gotta get to that asopao before it's gone. I feel we have to hurry up with this. When I was a little girl, one of the main elements of the soundtrack of my little life was the sound of dominoes clacking on a table. Today I'm standing in the Generalissimo Maximo Gomez Park in Little Havana, where as you can see over my shoulder there's this fabulous dominoes tournament going on, taking me back quite a few years. Dominoes, when I was growing up, was very much a gentleman's game. On Friday evenings, when my uncles would come home, they'd break out the tables, they'd have a nice cold one on a Friday night, or on a Saturday afternoon in Puerto Rico with little cups of black coffee. I have an uncle who is especially dear to me, and when he retired recently, I went out and got him a very special set of his very own dominoes, and it was like, okay, now you have all the time in the world to play the game. Next to baseball, we love our dominoes. Cuban Miami is hot during the day, but honey, at night it smokes. And the reason for that, the main reason for that, is the music. And recently when I went to Miami, I managed to go to this fabulous club called Hoy Como Ayer, which means today like yesterday. And I think that's very reflective of the music, because as hot and new and modern as the music is today, it draws very, very largely on what was going on in the 50s. And Albita brought the house down. And the stuff that she's singing is modern, but with some real old Cuban soul. It's absolutely amazing. Okay, so we're up on 2 hours. And look at how beautiful these beans look. They've held their shape. They look absolutely beautiful, and I'm going to test one. There's no bones in there. It's nice and creamy. It's held its shape on the outside. Delicious. Absolutely fabulous. These are done. Turn the flame off, and we're going to go right into our bean soup, our black bean soup. First, I'm going to take a few of these beans and I'm going to mash them up. You don't have to do this. I do it because I like my bean soup nice and thick. If you like yours a little more brothy, then you don't have to do that. And you know, we're going to only use half of the beans for this recipe because I'm going to go ahead and make something else with the rest of the beans. Okay, so I'm just going to give them a quick mash with a fork. The consistency is absolutely beautiful. They really are creamy and soft and lending themselves very nicely to this. I love black bean soup, on a chilly day, because it's like a hug from home. All these hugs, right? I'm one of those huggy people, you know? Ask my kids. They'll be more than happy to tell you. It's like, Ma, get away from me. They should be so lucky, right? Okay, so let's put the rest of the beans that I'm going to use in here. And we'll leave those whole. Very good. Okay, now I can set that here over on the side. And I can bring my beans over here. Okay, what I'm doing is starting out the soup with my basic sofrito. So we're going to mix that sofrito right in here, right into the beans. Alcaparrado, that great little olive salad you can find. Okay, and tomato sauce. Yum. And chicken broth. You can use vegetable broth. And don't be shy with the salt. You'll hear me say it. Salt it as you go along. You salt, you taste, and right before you serve your food, I always salt again. I'm just going to add a little of the water that the beans cooked in because it's got this beautiful black, almost like calamare ink. And it's got that nice ham flavor too. Okay, this is where it gets interesting. I have Scotch bonnets, I have jalapeno, and I have these little finger peppers. Pick your poison. I like these. I'm going to add the ribs and the seeds because I like the heat. If you don't, try the jalapeno. It has moderate heat. Take out the rib and the seeds, and you'll be able to monitor the heat that way. Or don't have any heat at all. These are pretty hot chilies. And if you're not used to handling chilies, I would go so far as to tell you to use latex gloves because the oil from the chilies stays on your hand long after you wash them. And the last thing you'd want is to get that oil on your eyes or your nose, your mouth, or God forbid you should go to the bathroom. Okay? On my finger. Ooh. Ooh. That's delicious. I'm going to set this on the back burner for about 30 minutes and just let the flavors come together. And I'm going to come over here and check my Ropa Vieja that I've been peeking at. Oh, the sauce has just come together lovely. The meat looks, well, I don't even have to touch it. I can tell that it's falling off the bone. It's just like falling apart. This is going to be delicious. Let's turn the heat off this puppy, and I'm going to let it cool so that it's cool enough for me to handle it, shred it by hand by the time that the soup is ready. I'm literally trembling with excitement, and I know what you're thinking, oh my goodness, this girl needs a hobby. Well, guess what? My hobby is cooking and eating good food. That's what I love to do. And I'm just going to give this one last skim before I serve myself. My whole kitchen smells of this soup. Check the seasonings. Yes, indeedy. We've got some serious beanage going on here. Just turn this heat off. I just want you to try this stuff. Look at this. Is this delicious? Okay, now the great thing about black bean soup that I like at the end, it's like making an ice cream sundae. You know, you get to add like all these different toppings. You have red onion, a little cilantro, sour cream. You have the option of adding a little vinegar, sherry vinegar, cider vinegar, white wine vinegar, whatever vinegar you like and are comfortable using. But you know what? I've told you about my mother's vinagre, the little brine that she makes with pineapple rinds and heat. And I just think that's the perfect foil for this soup. And you're going to forgive me, but like I said before, I'm actually trembling. I can't wait to just work this around a little bit. Oh my goodness. Wow. I can't live without soup. I can't live without this soup. If there's one soup recipe that you decide to make, this is the one. I showed you how easy it is. It's fairly quick. It's even better the next day. It's even better the next day. Today, not tomorrow. Oh Lord, this is too good. There are no words to tell you how good this is. You gotta try it. Wow, that soup. I'm still buzzing from that soup. I'm completely, I feel like where I come from, we say como gato en el sofá, like a little cat on a nice comfy couch. I'm nice and cozy and comfortable now. But I told you that we have a couple of other things happening, right? And I'll remind you that we only used half the beans that we cooked this morning. And we're going to go ahead and finish those. We're going to be making Moros y Cristianos, which is a very traditional Cuban white rice with black beans. Really, really good. Again, more comfort food. Okay, so very quickly, I'm going to add some recaito, which is basically a sofrito without the red in it. It's onion and garlic and some little ajicitos. We have them available. Cilantro and culantro, or if you can't find culantro, more cilantro, no red bell peppers, no tomato. Okay, so let's just add that. I have this on low heat. I'm going to add alcaparrado. I'm going to add some cumin, about a teaspoon, and just going to give that a little stir. And I'm going to give these moros, these little Moors, a chance for all those flavors to come through and heat up. And while that's doing, I'm going to take a look at my Ropa Vieja. It looks cool enough. It feels cool enough. That's very good. Wow, it's falling apart just by me even moving it. Look at this. You could use 2 forks. Just look at this. It just comes right off. You see that? All those little strands. That's why I like the chuck as opposed to the flank. Beautiful. Look how pretty that's shred. That's exactly what I want. Because you had the nice marble of the chuck, the flavor of the chuck, it's delicious. All done? Okay, I started some carrots here in a dice that we're going to add to our Ropa Vieja, and I'm going to finish them in a small dice. I would always marvel watching the chef instructors at school and somebody like Jacques Pepin who cuts stuff like this without even ever looking at it. I can't do that. I love my fingers. I'm really attached to them. I'm going to put this on low heat, and I'm going to go ahead and add my carrots. And I have blanched peas here. If you've got a little box or a little bag of frozen peas, this is a great opportunity to try them. And a little bit of chopped celery. I want to bring the heat up on this. I want it to start bubbling because this is already starting to smell very exciting, and I don't want to wait a long time. We're going to cook this about 20 minutes. I want the heat to come up fast. I want the vegetables to cook quickly, and I don't want to lose a lot of the sauce. I don't want it to dry out anymore. So I have it on medium-high heat. There's a little bubble there. Okay, I'm going to cover it, lower the heat, and I've got 20 minutes to make white rice for our Moros y Cristianos. I have a bundt cake mold here, a little turban, and I'm going to use that to serve my rice. And it's really going to look pretty. For those of you who aren't familiar with Latin history, the Moors and the Christians had this age-long battle. The Moors, down from Africa and down that way, and the Christians, the Europeans. So that's where this dish got its name from, the black and the white. Ooh, the sound of those beans bubbling away. When I was a little girl, I used to sit in the kitchen to do my homework when I came home from school. And that's a sound that I remember trying to figure out. First, how to learn to read and speak English, and then, you know, all the stuff that you learn in grade school. I love that sound. Okay, I'm just going to pat this down very gently. And then I'm going to turn it right over. Lovely. On my serving platter. Okay, and then I have my beautiful beans here. And they still have a little broth on them. Keep a little of the broth. It'll seep down around the rice. How pretty is that? Okay, I'm going to set that over here for just a second. I'm not going too far away from that because it smells like heaven. And I'm going to take a look at our Ropa Vieja, our old clothes. And I wish my old clothes looked as good as this looks. Doesn't this look like a party on a plate? I mean, it's a very, very humble dish. I would serve this to company. I do serve this to company. Beautiful. Wow. How does this look for a party table or a dinner table? Honey, makes me want to put marimba sleeves and sing Babalu. That is absolutely amazing. The carrots make it sweet. The meat has cooked, it's soft, the texture is silk on your tongue. I'll take Ropa Vieja like this any day. That is amazing. I would beg you to bring Cuba to your house. Buen provecho.
Daisy Cooks, Latin flavors that will rock your world, contains over 200 of her detailed recipes. With each order, you also get a Daisy Cooks DVD at no additional cost. It includes the never broadcast Daisy Pilot and 3 favorite shows. To order, call 800-336-1917. The price is $29.95. You can also order the Daisy Cooks book with free DVD at her website, daisycooks.com.
Hola,
Hola, it's Daisy. Hey, I'd love to hear from you. You can reach me at daisycooks.com. Tell me what you think. Sign up for my newsletter and get recipes and tips in English and Spanish. It's all at daisycooks.com.
Daisy Cooks is brought to you by
As Daisy says, eat great, feel great, look great. Marshalls. Brand names for less.
Diageo. As Daisy says, eat great, feel great, look great. And if you drink, drink responsibly. Diageo, celebrating life every day responsibly.
All-Clad Metal Crafters. All-Clad is bonded construction. All-Clad is innovative design. All-Clad is professional equipment. All-Clad is a state of mind.
Brillo with Oxy Action. For tough messes, Oxy microbubbles lift and dissolve grease and grime. Brillo, cleaning solutions for your home for over 90 years.